Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome to early morning on the farm. You can see it's October. We've gone through summer vacation. I've been whiling away the months here on the farm, just taking it a little bit easy. Took a few trips, enjoyed myself a little bit. So let me get you up to speed of where we're at. We've been waiting for canola. Today's the day the canola on the big field is ready to go. So if I go here, you can see it's ready to harvest. My little fields still are not. So if you recall, or if you're new to the series, we're using the VIP Order Manager. And I've got a couple orders of canola here. The level 13 VIP orders want some. And we need some later in level 15, but obviously we need to get there. So the total is roughly 280,000 liters of canola that we need. We have about 120 right now, and that was what we got off field 42. So I'm pretty comfortable that I'm going to get close to that. So probably have 240 or so when I'm done of canola off the field once I'm done with the harvest that we're going to work on today. And that will at least let me get through level 13, and then while I wait for tomorrow, because I believe, well, it might be a couple more days. So if I hop over here in the early morning gloom, oh, we're 4 days away, so it's a few days away. So we may be waiting, and maybe this becomes a gating factor, because I should be set for everything in level 14. So once I complete the harvest today, deliver the canola, I can start satisfying the level 14 orders, and more importantly, I'll see the level 17, and then ultimately the level 18 orders, and then we'll be sitting here pretty quickly, I think, in level 15. The unknown really is, do I actually have 22,000 liters of eggs? And if I don't, we're going to have a little bit of a break again while I wait to get there. But, I'll obviously rejigger and make sure everything else is working as well. I think we're in good shape. We're trying to get the wool together. We're trying to get the honey. So over the time I've been waiting, I'm at about 8,000 liters of honey. So we'll jump over to the honey in a second. Before I get going there, I'm going to get moving on this canola, because time's going to pass, and, I'm already a half an hour in just giving you a quick walk around of where we're at. So I'm going to get the work going on this, and we'll do whatever else we need to do before I need to come back to that and just kind of make sure that the workers are doing what they need and aren't crashing into things and so forth after we do that. So the good news is we're not seeing immediate rain. I didn't really look at the forecast today because at the end of the day, I just need to get going. I'll worry about it later if I need to. But right now I see clouds breaking to sun, so I'm going to be optimistic and mean that today is going to be a day that I can get canola off the field with no problem at all. So I'm heading over to field 42, which is kind of near the church over there. Church is kind of across the street. We're kind of near town. So as we work the field, we're kind of at the base of one of the hills. All of our sell points are a little bit somewhere else. But yeah, my focus really is going to be just... why did he turn in front of me? Ay, ay, ay. I mean, he saw me coming down the road. It's 5:30 in the morning. Let a farmer work, man. Let a farmer work. These people. Just no concept. But maybe they're going to work too. I guess I shouldn't be too hard on them. Might not be all just inconsiderate townfolk here. But you'd think even the townfolk here, I mean, we're putting on a tax base here. We're doing all kinds of things. All right, why I was there and now I'm not. There we go. Alright, I'm going to try to not grab the trailer with me, because that's just going to make it harder to get out later. It's going to get in the way of my machine going off doing its thing. Alright, so we're just going to make sure the worker's going to kick off. I tend to do these fields, the large fields at least. I go ahead and let Courseplay work them, because it takes a long time with the implements we're able to use here. Not sure if that guy's just watching us or what. I mean, it's not really typical that cars stop, but I'm thinking there was some sort of a interest there. I don't know, but no, I'm sure we were hitting some sort of a traffic box where it thought, uh-oh, this harvester might turn into traffic, because of course these guys are waiting for me too now that I'm backing up. I'm thinking as soon as I go forward, they'll take off. But, you know, it's certainly fun to watch a harvester do stuff in the field, so I'm sure they're just enjoying things on the way to work or whatever. But there they go. At least one guy's pulling away. The other guy's going too. Looks like they both took off. And we'll see what the rest of the day brings. But yes, we are now almost 10% full just for that little bit. But they decided to obviously start a little bit down the field there. I did adjust, in case you're wondering, for the header. So I should not have any problems. I tend to have forgotten that in the past, and then suddenly I have things left and I'm adjusting in the middle of the harvest. But at this point, to the best of my knowledge, I have set this to the appropriate working width as it has designed the path out. And, I mean, it's looking decent here, but we'll see what everything translates to later. But now let's go ahead. Well, actually, let me make sure I have a trailer ready to unload and take this probably to the silo, just to avoid any problems. Alright, so I've got my Kloss here with my trailer. So we're going to get him to the field. So he's going to go ahead and do that, and should hopefully be in a position to be able to go and unload that harvester. So obviously it's a little dark. He's being a little hesitant here. We are down here. We're already at 48%. So the hope is that by the time this starts to get full, the tractor will be close. But if not, the harvester will wait. I really probably should have started it before I really started going around the field. But can't go back in time, so this is what we have. So part of the reason I woke up early, again, if you've not been following this series, as I said, this is the largest field I've got at this point. I'm not really planning on expanding the farm, because one of the algorithms with the VIP order manager is the more land you have, it takes that into account when it sets the values for the orders. So all I would be looking at is bigger and bigger orders. So the nice thing is it kind of keeps you pretty busy with what you have, especially at the levels I'm at here. I'm finding with what field size you have to work. We obviously weren't able to even fulfill one level order just at level 13 with this largest field. So I'm having to do multiple harvests. And at some point, I'm going to decide, all right, the demands are too large, they're taking far, far too long. And certainly, give me feedback in the comments down below of what you're thinking. If things are starting to progress too slowly, and it's like, yeah, it's just too much time between levels in what you're able to do. Because what I'm trying to do is get to level 20 and hopefully actually complete the work in level 20. And that is likely the point where I think I'm going to end this series and then start something new in a new location. I mean, it'll be the same type of thing. It'll just be a VIP order manager and in a new community and so forth. But this isn't officially a role-play series. I'm not really doing anything like that at this point. But there's a little bit of a story here of, my uncle left me the farm And you know, when I expressed I had an interest in farming, he said, "Hey, I've got this land over in England. You interested in coming over from the States? And you can have it." So, you know, I shouldn't say my uncle left me the farm as if my uncle has died. He's still alive. He just decided he wasn't going to be doing the farming anymore. So, so that's how I ended up here in Riverview. But there's a lot of limitations in England with just the size of fields you can work and so forth. Alright, so it looks like it's going to cut a little bit of the path. Let's see. Alright, he's here. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, the pre-call level is set to 20. But it might have not been at the load point, so it might have just gotten there really close to this point, so I have no reason to think it won't work appropriately, because it's done a good job of it before. But sometimes things don't work as we've got things planned. Alright, so this should back out of the way. At that point, then the harvester should kind of cut its way back out. Hopefully they'll stay out of each other's way. Sometimes there's a little bit of challenge, but I've had pretty good luck here on this field, especially once I get the initial headers done. It's just sometimes there's a bit of, you know, just making sure that everything works. So yeah, I could start sending this just to deliver, but I just don't know that that makes a lot of sense. We're going to have basically 6 loads, because I think, if I recall, we can do 40,000 in that trailer. We got to do 208,000, so obviously 200,000 is going to be 5. I'll be able to do something after that. Or, you know, I'll have to take another load, I should say. Nothing after that. I just have to take 6 loads, because I can't make it in the equipment I have. But here in England, as I was starting to say, with the hedgerows and the walls and all of that, well, there's another guy terribly interested in what we're doing, but that's alright, that's his call. If he wants to follow us along. Looks like his brakes are, like, red. I don't know what that's about. Like, he's like been racing down the streets, but I'm sure that's probably not what we're seeing, but I'm gonna suggest that might be what it is. This guy's a little crazy. Alright, so now at this point, we're at 22%. We're doing the call. In the gloom up there, you can see the trailer and the tractor. I don't know that I can see that he's quite moving yet. And now he's finally backing up a bit. So maybe he felt he was stuck, but I can see him moving. Not quite sure why he's going backwards, but he is. Hopefully he won't get stuck on the tree here, but I think he will. He will. Let me put this pipe away. I see. So, having a bit of a challenge calculating the path. I'll turn that off so I can steer. We'll get through these couple trees here, and then we will let it take off again. Alright, so at this point, he should be good, and I think there shouldn't be a reason that it gets stuck again. Alright, so yeah, he basically got stuck trying to get away from the fence here. So we'll get it moving again. Alright, and now it's catching up with the combine, so it should go along. That thing was only at about 40%, so I should be in good shape here. The question becomes, again, as it goes around the edge of the field, what kind of dancing it has to do. Can it actually get under the pipe? Because obviously the best solution for this is that it stays around and it empties the harvester fast enough that the harvester can just keep going. Typically, depending on where I'm leaving the field from, what I have found, well, and there's these challenges too. What is this doing? Is it going to deliver? No, it's catching up with the combine. That was a very weird turn. I don't know why it did all that. But this is kind of what you run into sometimes when you're trying to automate these things. They work very well. They just unfortunately have some problems here, on the edge. I'm worried it's going to see that lime basket and be like, it's in my way and I can't do anything. Alright, I'm going to turn this off and help it along again, because otherwise we're just never going to get where we need to get in time. So I may manually do this here. Let's see, will it put the pipe out? Yes. Because I may just do that as we go here and then maybe worry about it later, but I just don't want this thing to stop if it doesn't need to. Which it doesn't need to right now. I promise you it doesn't. And now I'm like in my own way, so I gotta be careful. So this is the challenge it would have, certainly. So auto drive and course play do struggle playing together in something like this. Now we're struggling up this hill. This isn't my biggest tractor, so we're definitely having a bit of a challenge here. Alright, so let's see if I do that. Now it should hopefully catch up. What is it doing? Oh boy. Alright. Well, it's doing something else. Let's go look at the combine real quick here. Alright. It's at 30%, so it's got a little bit of time to fumble around here. I was hoping it was going to come along and just follow it, but the problem is now by the time it catches it, we'll be at the turn. And then we're going to be fighting things again, and it's likely going to take those wide swings and do all the other stuff it was doing. But we'll see what happens, because yes, I'm sure it's going to get confused now that the combine changed course. Well, amazingly, that was way smoother than I'm used to. So let's see what we can get down to before it hits the upcoming turn and likely again slows down and backs off. But hey, we're down to less than 20%. If it'll stick through here, this could turn out nicely, as long as it's not in the way. So there we go. Now it might wait until it gets called again at 20% now that this is empty. But hopefully it won't have a problem getting stuck, although it seems to be moving along and just following, which is terrific. That's what we'd like. But this is exactly what you want to see, is them working really, really well together so that the harvester can just keep plowing along. Because even now, like if it just is pouring out what it has and it stays together, that means the harvester will be empty or very close to empty by the time I go head off to the silo, which gives me a greater chance of being able to not have the harvester waste time and sitting on the field. So that kind of circles all the way around to what I said quite a bit ago, was I started at 5 a.m. because this field, with the implement size we have, takes a really long time. And it's not uncommon that I'm pressing up into midnight and sometimes going into the next day. So if I can avoid that, that would be great. Now, I may not have enough room here for these to work, once again, with this little chicane here, I'll call it. It's more of a racing term than a farming term, but, whatever we want to call this. Well, it's amazingly sticking along quite well. This is obviously this is honestly the best I've ever seen this behave. So I'm amazed. I hope you're amazed. You're witnessing history here on Riverview Farms with the VIP series. Because at some point, I think this is set to 80 or 90%. I might have it at 85, I don't remember. But when it gets to the fill level, at some point, this tractor's then going to pull off and go deliver. I mean, obviously, if it gets entirely full, it will pull off and deliver, and that would be the best. But, you know, if we get 3 of these, that will be 140,000 liters. Oh, someone turned the lights on. It's kind of funny how Farming Simulator does that. Sometimes it's dark, and then it's not so dark as the sun is coming up. It's not great at the gradual change. But yeah, this looks like it'll work nicely. So we got enough room. So maybe him not being there at the beginning worked out better than I thought, because otherwise we'd have the tractor trying to drive through the trees when the arm was down, and that ends up causing just all kinds of problems. So obviously now it's going to move over, so it's backing off a bit. This is the point it will typically check a trigger to see if it should leave the field or not. If it passes the tractor, we're going to have a problem. Yeah, it'll back off now because now it knows we're going to the corner. So we were right at that border where it was like, yeah, I can come up, and then it's like, oop, I hit the point where I can't come up because now I need to give you room to take the corner. So it'll try to come around the corner, and then it probably won't line up before it hits the straight point or the turn point again, and then we'll kind of be continuing down, not being empty. But we're only 5-6% full right now. So, wow, this is behaving in ways I've honestly never seen. Like, I was expecting it to fumble around the corner. Like, this thing is a model of efficiency. It is awesome. So, like I said, I'm excited. I hope you are too. I know I use different words, but... So... But yeah, if we can get 3 loads, like, that gives us enough. And then what I may end up doing later in the day, if that's the case, is I may end up saying, you know, I'm just going to start sending the vehicle to the delivery point. I may still do that, like, once I get into the middle of the field. It's just I think the delivery point is far enough away that I'm not sure that it makes sense. Because I think that's going to take a long time, and I think I'm going to be waiting. It's hard enough for it to get to the farm, and that's really what I'm trying to avoid, is that I have the combine sitting on the field for 15 minutes of real time, which is going to turn into like almost an hour in game time at the 5-speed setting. It'll be a little over an hour, and so I've just got the harvester then sitting around doing nothing, and then that's how I run out of time during the day to get the field processed. And, you know, this is less problematic in a harvest, but I've had years here in this series where I planted the field and not gotten the planting done before midnight, and then I had a section of the field that wasn't ready for harvest. So, it's just kind of annoying. And then sometimes, you know, courseplay leaves a little bit there. Let's see, is he struggling now? No, he's taking a good line. So let's see how they're doing. Alright, 64%. So probably by the time we get fully around the field again, it's going to be at the point where it might trigger and leave. But like I said, the best thing is if it can keep going along with this and run to 100% full, that would be the best, because then that will likely mean that the harvester is completely empty, and it's going to give me the best opportunity to get all the way around. So I've got 4 headlands running around here is how this is going to operate. So at this point, I think we're good. Let's step away for a bit and get back into what we've got to do elsewhere. Alright, so the other job I need to do is I need to grab some more hay here, and I think I've got the limiter set. I do, because the sheep can only take 11,000, but they're out of feed, and therefore they're not producing wool. So I did lose that in my excitement to get through to the point where I could harvest canola. But we've got hay out here, so I just need to pick up another row and probably a little bit more. than that to get the 11,000. But we're going to come in here and do that. Hey, cow. I love invisible cows in Farming Simulator. It's wonderful that we don't just annihilate them with our tractor, because otherwise, like, having them in the field would be a bad thing. They just lay down like that one is, 2 grass lines over, and, you know, this guy's not going to move. Like, it would take a long time, and if I was, you know, going for realism, I guess I would sit here and wait for him to move, but we just need to make our VIPs happy. Can I get that without getting super stuck? I don't know that I got it all. Oh, I think I did. Look at that. I'm impressed. I'm very pleased. Alright, so I think I did, looks like I did a little bit of this row at some point somewhere, but not sure if I'm going to get my full 11,000 by the time I finish. Maybe if this whole row was here, I would have, but I may have to get into the next one a bit. But we're at about 17,000 liters of wool right now that has been produced. And we've got an order, if you recall, when the order window was up, of 29,000 liters of wool. But we don't need that till level 15. So I'm not super concerned. Obviously, it would have been better if I just had them done and didn't have to worry about it, but I think we're still going to be waiting for lettuce, because that's the next thing we'll take a look at and really see where we're sitting at. But just in the last month, the greenhouse finally filled everything out that it could, meaning the outside, and now we're just stacking up, and we were only about 1,000 liters. I think it was like 1,600 liters in one of the greenhouses I was looking at this morning. So we don't even have 2,000 stored up, and we've got room in there for quite a bit more. Oh, I'm going to the sheep. I like forgot what I was doing. I'm like, where am I taking this? So again, that happens pretty much in all my series. Just sometimes I get so happy of what I'm telling you that I just forget what else I'm doing. So you can see there, we've got 5 stacks of 4. It's 4,000 or 400 liters per, so 20 pallets should be 8,000 liters if I calculate that correctly. We need 10,000 liters of honey. You know, our big challenge is going to be figuring out what we do with cereal. So, alright, this should do everything, and I think it'll take it all. If I go here, yep, we're full. Problem is, you know, it's going to take a little bit for them to start producing again. So that's the challenge, and kind of the problem of me letting them run out is that, so what do we got here? 351 liters, so each of these pallets is 1,000, and as I said, so we've got 10, and then there's only 4 here, you can see. So 14, 15, 16, 17, and a little bit more. So I need another 12,000, so it's not nothing, but, you know, you can see they're already at 10% productivity, and that's probably because I hit 8 o'clock. So, you know, we've gone from 351 to 362. I don't know that it updates more than at the top of the hour, but we've got that flowing again. Let me make sure we don't have any problems over here. Alright, everybody's moving. Alright, he's at 86%. So like I said, I'm certain the trigger's at 90. But if he stays engaged with the harvester, he may not peel away before we hit 100,000. And at this point, it's pouring quite a bit in there, so it must have had to catch up at some point, because it's not going at the slow rate I would expect if it was an empty harvester. So yeah, we're close. We were at 2%, it looks like, so, you know, and if it runs all the way till it's full, that's alright. That's not Not something to get upset about, but at this point it's going to take a little bit to get that extra 5,000 in there, because now it's running at the pace, which is not super fast, of just emptying the harvester as it goes. So in the interim, we'll check back here so you can see we have 1,900 lettuce in that greenhouse storing up, 1,900 there, and only 1,700 here. And then we have 8 pallets that sit out here, if I remember correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are 500. So that means I have 12,000 liters sitting outside, and then, say, roughly taking it to the 2,000, another 6,000 out. So I have 18,000, which would be a full trailer, and that would get me there. But if we're looking at the lettuce, I need 28,000. So I'm going to need, a little bit more here, but I'm on a good pace. I was worried I'd really be sitting around waiting, and it's looking like that may not be the case. All right, well, we are getting close. So I'm going to go ahead, I think. We'll kind of just make sure everything flows. So we'll stay here at this point, make sure he heads out of the field properly and everything's running. Because at this point, now that I've got the sheep going again, that was my real only other work I needed to do. The problem with the eggs is it gives you a number in pieces. It doesn't tell you liters. And I don't do eggs enough that I remember the correlation. Like, what is one pallet? Is it 500 liters? I don't know that I have enough eggs. But I don't want to waste barley at this point because I'm really close on the amount I need to deliver. I need 150,000. I mean, I have a little bit of extra space here, 42,000 more, but I'd rather feed them later if I need to and wait, because they still produce eggs pretty fast. There's a lot of chickens in that coop. So we're coming up here. 40,000 is the limit. There we go. So this is going to stop. That harvester should be basically empty. It's just a question. Now he's probably just waiting. Now he's going to exit the field. Now the challenge is going to be the way auto drive works. Exiting the field, it has to run to the unload point, which may still be in the crop. I just need to get there and get out before the combine gets there. I think we're okay at this point, because we're obviously moving significantly faster than the combine. But the point is kind of a loop that goes around. So it's going to try to drive through there. The way it's doing it, however, it's going to take some time. So hopefully it won't get in the way of the harvester. So there we go. Alright, yeah, the harvester's far enough away. I think we're good, and actually it looks like the unload point is clear. So there we go. Now it's going to drive back to the silo, and this, I'm comfortable, works well. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and let it do its thing, but the good news is, we're going to be at 162,000 liters of canola. Another load is going to get us at 202,000. That's going to put us within less than 6,000 liters of what we need for this immediate order. And that assures us that we will be leaving level 12. Or 12? No, I'm lost. 13. Level 13. Because I'm like, no, I closed out level 12, but then I was second guessing myself. So we will be leaving level 13 very shortly. But what I'm going to do at this point, because I think I've made this pretty long in the discussion, I'm actually going to end here, because the thing we're going to have the ability to do is next time we're going to do level 13 and start filling in level 14 as well. So I don't want to stop in the middle of that excitement. So I'm going to wrap this as the episode, kind of focusing on canola and just getting the farm going. But we're in excellent shape, partially because, again, the automation has worked fabulously and is way better than I thought I've seen it ever do before on the farm, or really on any farm. Usually I'm always having to correct something, and I only had to do it twice, when the harvester got stuck with the open pipe on the tree, and then when the tractor got too close to the edge of the field and got stuck on the fencing. But with that said, I'm going to wrap this up. If you've liked this video, if you haven't already, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here, if you haven't already liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you would do that. Help this series, and more importantly this channel, get in front of more people so that we can continue to grow the community. More people we have, the more comments we get, the more interesting and helpful it should be for everybody. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, I would appreciate it greatly. And certainly if you haven't become a subscriber yet, that would be another thing I would be very thankful for. I'm pressing forward to try to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. That's kind of the next big milestone, and I'd love to get there. It's been a long journey just to get to where I'm at, and I'm very grateful for the 800 so of you that are subscribers at this point. Thank you very much for making this channel a priority in your entertainment. And with that, as we pull up into the silo, at this point I feel we're close enough. I don't want to not give you the joy of watching it dump into the silo, because I'm assuming if you're watching this video you love the mechanics of Farming Simulator and so forth, especially if you've watched it all the way to the end here. But maybe you just skip to the end and you're getting this payoff. But there we go. So as I said, I've done this enough. I know the loop works really well, so I wasn't worried that it wasn't going to function. But now we've got more canola in the silo, and we're just going to keep plodding along, and I will see you next time.